Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you've had a great couple of days between releases. In case you missed it, we hit 100 subscribers. So to celebrate, I got TrueGreen7 to review 9 entirely new Fakemon designs. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. In this video, however, we're going to go over an entirely new Pokemon that will tie into our first gym leader, who's going to be a Ghost-type specialist. I also wanted to take this opportunity to make my first official Objectmon for Wentano. In creating this Pokemon, I tried to think a lot about the history of the American West. I wanted to create a ghost type that really felt like it could originate here. I was drawn to Gold Rush age stories and legends of ancient treasures untold that pulled so many people into these deserts. What kind of Pokemon would the spirits of individuals who chased after these kinds of fortunes become? They could become gold-hoarding monsters who possessed treasures they found, but I don't know, that's not really my vibe, and what would happen to the people who never reached their goals? I think that those are the type of ghosts that I want to base my Pokemon off of, as they could be the type to try and lead other people to treasure. That's why we're going to start off with a haunted compass, or at least a possessed one. I feel like haunted has a negative connotation. Anyways, having spent its whole human life, or Pokemon life, searching after treasure, this Pokemon is still determined to find it, and now seeks to lead other people and even Pokemon to treasures scattered throughout the land. It uses its needle to point to the treasures that it sees are most valuable. As this Pokemon began appearing in the Wentano region around 200 years ago, people began to realize that its otherworldly ability to find treasure could be taken advantage of. Some bonded with these Pokemon, and many legendary treasure hunters found success this way, especially as they were able to evolve this Pokemon. These trainers of old found that the best way you could reward this Pokemon for its hard work was to share in the spoils with it, and while it may no longer have much use for the treasures that you could find, those in Wentano know that this Pokemon has a particular taste for fine spirits. In modern times, however, this doesn't always translate well to the trainer-Pokemon relationship. I imagine that this Pokemon is always trying to find new treasures, now with quotation marks around that word, and give them to their trainers. In fact, maybe that's all it can think about. I can only imagine how frustrating it must be when you're trying to teach your Pokemon a new move, and it just keeps floating over to you, trying to get you to follow directions to a treasure. I imagine that only trainers who possess a similar, ADHD level of hyperfocus on treasure hunting have the best relationships with it. Here's what became tricky with designing this particular Objectmon. The modern compass is overly simple, very easy to read, but honestly very boring as a Pokemon design, at least in my opinion. That being said, old-fashioned compasses are very ornate, but maybe too detailed to really fit the Pokemon design theory. I did my best to strike a balance between a readable design that still resembled many of the beautiful compasses that we've used in days past. Meet Compeye, the locator Pokemon. Compeye can be quite tricky Pokemon to tame, not because they don't care for their trainers, but rather because they can be easily distracted by trying to find treasures and gifts to give them. To stay in a Compeye's good graces, it is best to give a little something to drink each time that it gives you a gift. Many think this dates back to pirate traditions of old when Compeye were present on sailing ships in Wentanoan waters. If you're new to my videos, you probably don't know that oftentimes I'm not as worried about evolving the Pokemon as I am evolving the concepts related to that Pokemon. I ask myself, how can we take this a step further, or what concepts can we continue to explore? For Compeye, I imagine only being able to point its compass needles and single hand in the direction of treasures for its trainer would become quite frustrating. It can't really communicate very well, so its evolution aims to be something that is a little bit better at guiding to treasure and helping it become unearthed. A map. As a map, this Pokemon can magically rewrite itself over and over again to lead treasure seekers to items of great value. It can draw detailed sketches of terrain. It can provide you with a path to follow. It can even draw hints and clues. The only thing it won't give you is written hints. I think that while it could technically provide them, this Pokemon has some level of a moral code about treasure hunting. It's not necessarily supposed to be easy, that being treasure hunting, and this Pokemon expects those who ask for its help to put in a little effort. In times of old, I almost imagine that some trainers may have outright refused to work with this Pokemon, as they would much prefer the more eager Compeye. At least that Pokemon would help them find valuables regardless. But this Pokemon is viewed as requiring too much effort on the trainer's part. Stories exist of it going as far as erasing itself, rolling up tightly, and refusing to open for trainers who had asked for too much but done too little. That being said, trainers who learned to appreciate this kind of effort and puzzle solving became quick friends with this Pokemon, who then led them to some of the most valuable treasures imaginable. In modern times, this isn't exactly the problem, as now this Pokemon's nature is much better understood. It is loved by trainers who love adventure and love a good challenge, and often accompanies those who investigate ancient ruins trying to find treasures yet unearthed. I know it's a little morbid to think about the lore of ghost-type Pokemon, but I think that how this Pokemon and Compeye are locating their treasures is a hard question to avoid. I don't think that they just have some magic treasure-finding powers, but instead imagine that these Pokemon take advantage of their ghost typing to commune with the dead. In these communications, I like to think that they coax the locations of treasures and lost items out of the dead who once possessed them, essentially under the pitch of, "You aren't using them anymore, let us give your treasures a new life." This is what makes many of the trickiest treasures out there yet unfound by these Pokemon, as those who hid them away may refuse to give up their location even in death. Some kind of overt greed that lives on beyond the grave. Meet Navigeist, the mapping Pokemon. After helping find so many treasures as a Compeye, Navigeist are often even harder to keep on task. They spend every second they can rewriting their map to make a treasure's final location as clear as possible. Navigeist can find these treasures by communing with the dead, and will often lead trainers to the things that were most treasured in another person or Pokemon's life. Last but not least, let's look at our final evolution. Where Compeye and Navigeist are about locating lost treasure, I want to expand on a character trait we talked about a little within these Pokemon already. A belief that, in some regard, those who want to claim the treasures of the world must demonstrate worthiness to claim them by exerting the effort to find them. Navigeist will outright refuse to work with trainers who won't listen to it and demand further clues than Navigeist has already given them. Eventually, this Pokemon sets off on its own to the location of a treasure that it knows and decides to protect it with its puzzles and tests. This Pokemon then evolves into a puzzle box. Once it finds the treasure that it wants to protect, it literally eats it, sealing the treasure away inside of itself. It will then determine a set of passcodes that will be needed to unlock the treasure by treasure hunters. It'll hide clues as to what these passcodes are, and it'll use unknown script in the surrounding area to do so. After it's done all of that, it'll return to the original location of the treasure and await unlocking. During the time that it's waiting to be unlocked, it'll commune with the dead once more, looking for more treasures that it can go after and protect after someone has found this one. One interesting thing might be the size of a treasure that this Pokemon is trying to protect. I don't think this Pokemon would swallow the whole city of El Dorado and protect it, but I do think that its size might vary based on the first treasure that it tries to protect. Because of this, you might have a very small Pokemon that simply holds the key to El Dorado in its mouth right in front of the final doors. Alternatively, you might have a very large Pokemon holding a collection of wealth like treasure chests or, other large objects of value in its mouth. Once you've determined what you think this Pokemon's passwords might be, you can tap the panels with the matching unknown script in the right order to input each password, though I would recommend being absolutely sure you know what the right answer is, because if you make a wrong input, this Pokemon spews out a poisonous gas into the area that'll first knock you out, and second, leave you dazed and confused so that this Pokemon can make an escape. Should you guess correctly, though, it'll drop one of its key-shaped eyes, exposing a keyhole that you can insert this key into. Get both eyes, open both locks, and all the treasures sealed inside this Pokemon are yours. Like I've stated previously, though, the amount of treasures that exist in the modern world are becoming more and more rare. The ones that are still out there might be large, but their previous owners, the ghosts, aren't giving them up. That's where I think we can introduce a fun new character and a fun game mechanic called Peocaching. For those uninitiated, geocaching is essentially a small-stakes modern treasure hunting game. Individuals can hide treasures at a certain location, which is often protected by its own set of puzzles. It can be located using a GPS pin, but these are intentionally vague and not on top of the cache. Instead, hunters are given a radius to search within from that pin that the cache should be inside. I think it would be fun if the Wentano region had something similar. Again, it'd be called Peblocaching, which you'll get in a minute. But this is an initiative heralded by this ghost-type gym leader we talked about before, who you'll encounter in your third town. A member of a family renowned for treasure hunting greatness, now they're trying to rehome this Pokemon, some of which might even be hundreds of years old. The gym leader gives them Pokecoins to hold in their mouth and finds a place for them to hide. Trainers can tap into the Peblo network to see what routes have caches and are given a single hint to find this Pokemon's location. I imagine they're like secret bases where you can drop into them, view the password hints, and take a gander. If you get both passwords right, you can claim your prize, and there could even be a leaderboard or things like that. For now, meet Peblozzux, the treasure Pokemon. A truly tricky Pokemon and a lover of puzzles, Peblozzux are known for taking your favorite items and eating them. Only by entering the right combination of unknown letters can you retrieve them, while Peblozzux can be found in ancient cities and shipwrecks as they search for the treasure in trainers who love puzzles as much as they do. Be warned, they are only reward correct answers and will spew a poisonous gas for incorrect ones. And there you have it, Wentano's oldest ghost Pokemon and our first gym leader's ace. I think we will release a narrative video soon that gets you caught up on everything to this point. From character selection to your first gym leader battle, I want to cover everything you might see in a normal game. Hopefully I'll have graphics completed for our first fake game titles as well. Thank you all for watching this video, I hope you liked it. If you haven't seen the previous video, I do highly recommend it. Like I said, I created 9 new Pokemon just for that video, and I'm super happy with how they turned out. I accidentally uploaded a copy with some missing audio, and I think that YouTube is punishing me for having to re-upload. Anyways, please give it a look. Until next week, like, subscribe, and go create something awesome yourself. Thank you.